Well, hey everybody. So glad that you guys are joining us today. Midweek Live. I always say middle of the week, middle of your day. Hopefully you're eating lunch. I'm having tea. What are you having?
I am having my oh-so-favorite iced coffee.
Iced coffee. And Angela is...
Nothing.
I have not done well as a host to give her a single thing to drink.
That's all right.
Okay, and for that, I am out. No, I'm just kidding.
We're done here.
Right, we're done here. I have Alfred and Angela with me today. If you haven't heard, we are actually in a series on Sunday talking about finances. Yeah. Here at church, we like to talk about things like sex and money. So, you know, it's...
Awesome. That's why I come.
Just for those reasons.
You know.
Good one. Good topic.
Good topic. Hot topic.
Yes.
So anyway, I thought it would be really good to sit and talk with the two of you because you guys have a giving story that has really just been like life-changing, really life-altering. Yeah? Is that, am I hitting...
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know.
I think when you're just walking along and doing it, you don't realize, you know, how big the impact is until you look back and say like, oh, wow.
Isn't that the way it works with life? I mean, oftentimes I look back on something that I've been like praying about or I remember a hard time or whatever. I look back on an old journal or something and you see the like difficulty that you're walking in. Knowing now how things turn out, you're like, wow, that is just like...
It was either nothing or it was very significant.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
either
But
way.
you can see like how God moved in it, right? You can see the way that you've prayed about it and be like, whoa, like I didn't even, God made that turn out so much better than I anticipated or thought it could have turned out, right? Because like you hear your plan, right? We're always doing that with our prayers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We pray about this, like, I hope this happens and I pray that this happens and like, but let your will be done for
Exactly.
sure, right?
Yeah, we just throw that
Just
in
gonna
there.
Throw my will out there, but
Yes.
just, hey, really quick, but it can be yours.
Yes.
And it's just so cool to kind of see how God moves, right? The evidence of him working in our lives. And so really that's what these moments are all about, right? Sitting with people and hearing how God is moving in the lives of their church family around them. And you guys are doing that today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go all the way back to, was there a time when you guys didn't give? Okay, so we talked about this. So you've been married 17 years
Yes.
in August.
17 years.
Yes.
This past
So
August.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, we did it.
Was there a time that in your marriage where you guys didn't give?
I don't think that there was a time where we gave nothing, but it wasn't consistent and it wasn't like purposeful, if you will. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, as, you know, going back even further before we got married, you know, Angela was in a different place in her faith than I was. And so obviously that takes us in different directions, you know, and when we merge together, hopefully her good side rubs off on me.
Exactly.
And
right.
vice versa.
Right, for sure.
You know, pulls me in the right direction when it comes to this
Yeah.
and stuff. And so, yes, in the very beginning when we first got married, you know, you're this newlywed couple. You're trying to find your spot in the world and you know, find your purpose.
Yes.
And obviously you're not making that much money, and you're just trying to survive.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
And
yes.
so, you know, I do remember in her heart there was a sense of giving, of tithing. You know, and I'm like, oh, man, you know, but we've really got to pay these bills, or we got to do this or that, you know. Yeah.
I'm looking at the reality of it. And
Yes.
you're living in a world of like, I know what we're supposed to do.
like,
That's great and all, but
yes.
I know the budget.
Yes,
And I know
but-
what we really can't afford. And
But let's get real here.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That was
Right.
kind of like me. you
yeah.
know?
I feel like that's a lot of us. I feel like that's a lot of us.
I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but yeah, looking at it now,
Yeah.
you know, my eyes have been opened a little bit differently. Yes, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most people, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and I don't know if it's more towards guys than it is, you know, women, but
I feel like it's whoever does the budget.
who's ever the nerd.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, I started out by doing our bills and
Okay.
our budget and all of that kind of stuff, and I would tithe on my check, knowing that mine was pretty consistent. And that's always been the thing with Alfred is he's an entrepreneur. So we don't always know exactly what's coming in. And so for me, it was like, I'll tithe where I know I can. And, you know, we'll see with the rest.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. you
Yeah.
know. And I remember in the beginning, I mean, it would be like $50.
Yeah. And it was like here and there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just random.
Yeah.
Random times
Oh,
or
yeah.
weeks or something like that, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And when I say $50, you know, that was $50 for the month.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I was there. We sat in the worship center getting towards the end, you know, the offering's getting ready to come around and you kind of look at you, give that look like, are we? Is it? Are we doing this one?
Are we doing this?
You know, it's like,
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. You're
That's
trying to do all of
exactly
that
it.
just through the looks,
Yep,
right?
yep,
And then
all happens in
someone
about
pulls
5
out the
seconds.
checkbook and starts like, is this the
Uh-huh.
number that we're talking about? No, okay.
Or,
you
you,
know, like,
or
yes,
you're writing it and you like subtract a 0.
Right.
Instead of 150,
Yes.
it's 15.
Yes.
And
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Been
know,
there. Mm-hmm.
True life.
When did it change though? I mean, why? Maybe I should ask, why did it change?
You know,
His story.
obviously, Angela's prepared to do this from
Yeah.
the start.
She's convinced. You're working on being convinced.
She is more mature in her faith. And, I'm along for the ride. But I can pretty much pinpoint a time of when the switch flipped. And that was back so when we moved into our new house. Been there 7 years. So it's about six years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
About 6 years ago, we're in our late 30s. Mid 30s. There's a difference.
Yeah, I know. If you're making that clarification,
Yes,
it
yes.
is pretty important when you're in your 30s, right?
and so this is what flipped the switch for me. So yes, I'm unemployed. I have a carpet cleaning business, and obviously with that, I have equipment that I have to use.
Yeah.
Well, when you first start out, you don't go jump into the Cadillac of things.
100%.
You're just trying
Yes.
to break on in and do what you
Yes.
can, right? And so that's what I did. I had this, junky old van and, piece of carpet cleaning equipment. It worked, I worked the miracles inside. They didn't have to look at the equipment,
Right.
But, as it goes on, it turns out if you upgrade your equipment a little bit, you can do a little bit better job because it makes it a little bit more easy and different tools work better, things like that.
Yes.
So it's a real thing, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So anyway, I had finally saved up enough money
Yeah.
to purchase some new to me upgraded equipment.
Okay.
Right? And it totaled, I don't know, probably about $10,000 worth.
Okay. All right.
And granted, this machine is about $25,000 if I purchased it new.
Right. Brand new. Mm-hmm.
So I was all excited. That was great. In the meantime, I had to put this stuff together. So you had to put the equipment, install it in a van. And so I purchased a van. I got a great deal in the van and all that stuff. So anyway, long story short, I came out to my backyard one day, and it was gone.
Really?
It was gone. Just swiped.
Stolen.
The
van, everything.
The new equipment, to me that I
Wow.
had bought, it was all gone.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what happened here? Like, my van, where'd it go?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just instantly thinking like, oh my gosh, I just spent all this money and
Yes.
it's all gone.
Well, my mind's going, you had insurance, right? Like, this is right.
No, I didn't have insurance for this thing. Granted, we live on about an acre, right?
Right.
And so our back lot is really big and all that stuff. And it's sitting, like, I can see it from my kitchen window.
Right. So you feel like it's
Looking
protected.
out
It's
into the
safe. It's safe.
backyard.
It's right.
Who's going to come
Yeah.
and steal my van with
Right.
my new equipment, right? Okay. Anyway, it happened. No insurance because, I didn't have the money to be doing that. I did it on my current van.
Got it.
So naturally, you're like, okay, there's two ways I can react to this.
Yeah.
One is I can be pissed off at the world, and, to tell you the truth, I found out where the machine was.
Oh, really?
Had an address, a phone number, all that
Really?
stuff. And, a couple miles away from my house. It didn't work out for me to get it back. There's some things that fell through with, sheriff's department, stuff like that. So anyway, I didn't get it back.
Right.
So I could be mad. I could, take, I can be vindictive.
You can take matters into your own hands.
I
you
could
can go
do
and
all
steal
this
it
kind of
back,
stuff.
right? All these, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up getting the van back. It was left out, out by the zoo because they
Okay.
ran out of gas.
Right.
They bought themselves. They even fixed the tire.
What?
They got a new tire for on one of the wheels and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, oh, these guys, these clowns.
Wow.
So anyway, the second option was to give thanks to God. And that is the route that I chose to take.
Wow.
And how did I give thanks? First of all, I realized, okay, I still have my old van.
Mm-hmm.
I still have all my tools, the equipment on that. I'm still in business.
Right.
I can go to work still
Right.
and make money
Right.
to provide for my family.
Right.
Because let's face it, that's what these guys did. They took something from me
Right.
that helped me provide for my family.
Right.
And so I think once I took that attitude
Hmm.
and just relaxed for a moment,
Hmm.
you know, this was all within a matter of about 4 days
Mm-hmm.
to change the
Mindset.
attitude,
Yeah.
the mindset, the outlook.
Did you what was that, waffle? Was it like back and forth, like you felt that way and then kind of found yourself kind of taking it back a little and then give it
No.
again, and then you felt like it was a one and done. You were good.
No,
you were set.
it was like sliding over,
Okay.
you know, from this side of the
Yeah, and you
room
just-
and moving to this side of the
Okay.
room, you know.
That's great.
And I kid you not, as soon as I made that decision, within 6 weeks, all of a sudden, you know, there's normal business,
Yeah.
you know, that goes on.
Yeah.
Well, right after that, my phone just was job after job after job
Wow.
after job.
Wow.
Within 6 weeks, I had made back all the money that I had lost from the purchase of the equipment, plus found the exact setup of new equipment from somebody else.
Okay.
So within 6 weeks, everything was returned.
You were back to
and I was ahead.
Wow. Wow.
And to me, that's huge.
Right. That was something you couldn't take full credit for. I mean, is that right, that it felt
No.
like so massively out of your hands? I mean, you did the work, don't get me wrong.
Right.
You did do the work, you did
I
do
did
the
do the work.
jobs, you did go there,
Yes.
and you stayed diligent. But the recovery, the time that it happened in, how quickly.
It was super fast. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's not like a normal thing. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, insurance doesn't even turn around that quick.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes.
And so in this case, it was more of a, God, thank you for, you know, what I have.
Yeah.
Thank you for these two hands.
Yeah. The ability to work.
That I have.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to walk.
Yeah.
You know, to you know,
Yeah.
to stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Thank you for, you know, the drive
Yeah.
that I have.
Wow.
You know, it was more of that.
Mm.
And so that's when I realized I don't have anything to worry about. Not a thing. You know.
And is this so giving, did that thought meet you in the worship center on a Sunday and you had this was it like a moment?
I can't say that it was a moment. I
Okay.
just want to say it's a transition.
Okay.
It's a transition of the heart. You know, and realizing, first of all, where it comes from.
Yes. Yeah.
And that if I need something, I just ask. Just like
Yeah.
my dad here on earth. I can ask him for anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Even if he can't do it, we can talk about it.
Right.
And he might have some sort of connection that can help
Right.
do that.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And I can go do that. It's the same thing with our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
We can ask him anything and he will take care of us. You know, the way that I felt is as if I finally turned to him and said, Dad, he
Yeah.
took my toy,
Yeah.
you know?
That's really
took-
true though. Yes.
That guy took my toy.
Yeah.
And he's out there like, I know, son.
Yeah.
But what does he do? As
Yeah.
any loving father would?
Right.
Come here, son.
Yeah.
Gives me a hug,
Yes.
comforts me. And then what? He's all, hey, I got another one for you. Here you go. And the best part is, I don't have to worry about that guy. You know, if I saw that guy today and he, you know, wanted to apologize and stuff, I would accept his apology and I would bring him in and I would probably celebrate with him for apologizing and coming clean. Because the wrath that God would have for his actions are far greater than mine could ever be.
Right.
And so what a great moment to be able to celebrate and be happy with him that he doesn't have to go through that.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, it there's a release that happens, like, so a lot of what you're saying, I'm thinking, like when I think of like having a hard time, like forgiving or having a hard time, like moving forward, it weighs us down. And they always talk about like unforgiveness being like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die, right? Like that's the example that they give, right? And it feels a lot like that because it eats away at you.
Yeah.
It takes away your joy. It takes away
Right.
your future. You kind of just really spinning your wheels where you're at because you simply are just mad. It's kind of the opposite, right? It's like, okay, yeah, Dad, he took my toy, and I'm going to throw myself on the ground and I'm going to throw a big fit and I'm going to kick and scream and I'm going to, and it didn't really solve anything, right?
Yeah.
It may have felt good, but hey,
And the truth of the matter is,
all good things come to an end fast.
And the truth of the matter is we kind of feel like we deserve to be upset about it and to be angry about it. And it sounds like maybe for about 4 days you kind of were trying to figure out how to feel about it, right?
And then I realized it's not worth my time to feel bad about it.
Yeah, you can't really change it. It is what it is,
I need
right?
to stay focused on what the task was at hand, and move forward with the plan.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
But, going back to, you mentioned, the joy and stuff, in this situation, I'm sure that God had a lot of joy in that moment with me because he realized how my heart had changed. And that is the joy of giving.
Yeah.
Is that you get to experience that when you give.
So did you start giving at this time, around this time?
That's when we started giving more and consistently. Yeah, so the whole key is consistent.
I was going to say, what made it consistent?
It was really the change of heart and just, realizing that everything that we have comes from the Lord. And, I was on board with that like a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Before we were married.
Yeah.
But I think just being able to see, God calls Alfred to be the head of the household. But God also says, like, don't go against, the people that I've put in place to lead you. And so for me, it was like a moment of, okay, do I listen to God or do I listen to my husband?
Right. Yeah.
And for me, tithing was always something that was taught to me as it's a response of worship to the Lord.
Yes.
And so, giving was never not an option, but how much and when was kind of like, all right, I need to defer because I need to honor my husband as well.
Well, yeah, and you think of if you went against it, right, what kind of difficulties that could bring
in our marriage.
in your marriage, right?
Yeah.
It's almost as if you'd have to do it maybe even behind his back, and then that could create some distrust, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Both have to be on the same page.
Oh yeah, this could tear marriages apart.
Yeah. You're talking 6 or 7 years ago, so I can't remember if we had like giving online at that time or not.
No.
Was this like a check? Was this like you had the check ready
You
to
had
go
write
every
a
single
check.
week?
Yeah.
You just had it ready.
Write a check or put some cash in the
and you
envelope.
just had like a
or,
ready amount, and it was just, this is what we do on Sunday, or is it like once a month? Was it like once a month, or was it like every week?
No,
do you remember?
was. You know what happened is, I started to take over the finances, paying the bills and stuff, and that comes into with having some debt and stuff that we were taking care of.
Yes.
But anyway, we just worked it into the budget. It's worked into our monthly.
Yes.
Just like you pay your bills, you pay your cell phone bill, like
Yes.
clockwork, right?
Yes.
You pay your PG&E
Yes.
bill.
Yeah, because you don't want the electricity to go
know,
out.
You pay the Comcast or
Right.
AT&T.
Well,
for
I
the
even
internet,
think, okay,
Yeah.
you go to
pay those,
Target, right?
Oh, Target.
Right? I say Target
Yeah,
because let's
I
be
know,
honest, you go to
Target.
Target and I'm going to see North Pointer there, so I'm just speaking truth
Yeah.
right now. Okay,
Yes.
sorry if
No.
it's too close to home. But okay, so we go to Target, right? And we get the things we need, want, whatever. Go through the process of checking out. I am not flipping over tables and like so upset when they add tax to my bill at the end.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
part of the purchase.
Yep.
Right? I'm not upset. It's an expectation.
Yeah.
And That's going to happen at the gas station. That's going to happen at the, right, when we go buy food. That's going to happen when we go to a restaurant. That's going to happen because that is a part of it. And we don't get all upset over, I mean, we might get upset over the percentage, but it is what it is. You have to do it.
We don't walk away.
Right. We could.
You know?
We could. Yeah. But you're going to have to buy something at some
point.
Yeah. You really can't get away from, right, making a purchase.
For sure.
And taxes will come out of it.
And they keep going up.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah.
And guess what? God is consistent.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
His never goes up.
Right. That's a good point.
He always asks the same thing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know?
And honestly, he doesn't demand anything of us, you know? And that's why I say that giving is an act of worship. And so when your heart is changed and you are able to cheerfully give, then I think that that's the part where God says, all right, you know, you're getting it. You're on the right path, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he gets excited with us.
Yeah, yeah. And for, you know, one of the moments that I remember, honestly, was during the Say Yes campaign and just thinking about our son's future here at North Point. Yeah. Not even knowing that I was going to be in kids ministry because I was in student ministry at the time. But, yeah, just thinking about that and like, okay, the future that we can help build for our sons so that they have a strong foundation of faith. Like, that's when I started to get excited because he was on board. And now I'm like, all right, now we're a team and we're going to do this together.
You know, I feel like, you know, it's always, I'm going to say it, and I've said it a lot. I've said it on cameras. I've said it on stage. We've heard it a lot, but it's like, beginning the process is, so I used to sit there and think, oh my gosh, got to give 10%. Like this is just like, it's a lot to get there. Right. Yeah, exactly. And I remember Steve giving that example of like, just start somewhere, choose an amount or percentage, whatever it may be, and then just give that consistently and then work on increasing it. And it was like, chains breaking off, like freedom of like, oh my gosh, I never thought, I thought it was 10% or nothing. You give it all or you don't give anything at all. And so it was like, well, until we can make more money and I can get to that 10%, like it's just not going to happen. Yeah. And so we just had a hard conversation and just chose an amount, and we've been like working, like it's just been this constant progress for like years on years on years. That I am positive, had I talked to Kim maybe 10 years ago, right? It'd be like, you're giving this amount. It'd be like, whoa, how are you affording that, right? Yeah. But it's just this slow process. And I think of like, so you just mentioned the next generation, right? How much different would life have been had this been the practice from day one, right? Like you never even had to learn how to not give, right? Or how to learn to give. Right. Yeah. It just was automatically a part of your budget. And when we make those decisions right now and influence our kids in their progress and as they grow up, we have the possibility of in one generation making that large of an impact
big time immediately. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we see it in our kids. And I think it's because they see it in us. Right. You know? Yeah. My older son, Nathaniel, you know, he's 13. 8th grade and stuff, and I mean, you know, he'll give you anything. I mean, we'll be out together, and I have the blessing of somebody asking me money every day. They're asking me for money every single day, and that's just part of where I have to go, and you know, the crowds that I run into. And when he comes with me, you know, they'll ask for. I mean, some of these people are bold. You know, they're like, you know, hey, you got $5? Yeah. You know, and Nathaniel will turn to me and he's all, how come you didn't give him $5? You know, and I'm like, you want to give him $5? And he's all, yeah, you know, and you know, my son is just so eager and so willing. You know, he'll be like, you know, hey, Dad, you know, can I borrow your phone real quick? And he'll Apple Pay somebody, you know, give him something, you know. He's that type of kid, you know. Wow. He's just real concerned for those around him and their well-being, and he wants to help and he wants to give to them. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people might actually feel the same way, but they don't they don't know how to just give into it and do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that there's a part of them that's like...
They have the hesitation for some reason, you know? And it's so funny. I remember talking to, some of the small group. And as a matter of fact, Dylan was in my group.
Yeah, it's my older son.
Yes. And we used to talk about what we called the tug. And I was like, guys, okay, you know, when you're in a situation and, the crowd's going one way, but you just have this feeling. It's just, you can't describe it. You know it's there. And you're just ignoring it. And you're like, I don't want to look like a square, or, whatever.
Don't want to stand out right now.
Yeah, I do not
Don't want to be that guy.
And I said, that's the tug. That's you knowing right from wrong.
That's the Holy Spirit.
That is you having a chance to make a decision. What's it gonna be, son? And these guys, they're always like, I know what you're talking about. And I'm like, I know you know what I do.
I bet you do.
I remember being your age. Like, I still get it sometimes,
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is. And the whole giving idea has to do with, first of all, trusting.
I was going to say it's faith,
Lord.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's really faith in action. And what I love is the fact that, like, we do not, they say it all the time, but really get down to it, guys. We do not see Jesus. We do not see God going like, test me in this.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
And the one time we do, he's like, come on, bring it on. See if I can't outgive you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, quite literally.
Yeah.
Never does it in any other space.
Did you
but
forget
this
I am
one.
the all-powerful
Right?
genie. I can do
Right.
anything.
And he's just like, test me in it.
Yeah, he's like
Test me in
calling
it.
you
Calling you out.
In a good way.
Right. But I mean, like, calling you out in your faith, but also calling you out in your trust. Can you trust that I can do what you can't imagine, what you can't see, what you do not even comprehend? Do you trust it? Because that is faith.
Yeah.
And trust me, I can outgive you.
Yeah, he yes, 100%. Not only he can just multiply one simple little
I
action.
remember starting that process, and like random things. We got like a rebate check from like something that we totally didn't even know was coming. Like there was all kind of little tiny things that oh, we're getting Dennis is getting a bonus at work this year. Never happened before. We had a good month or whatever. They wanted to show their appreciation or something. And it was like, oh, well, insurance this next year is going to be a little lower than it was before, so now you're going to get a little bit more back in your check. It was like every step along the way, all little tiny things. But if you didn't recognize, oh wow, God is
Your eyes were not opened.
God is really doing something here.
Yeah.
We really cannot outgive him.
Yeah.
No.
We really cannot outgive him. And that's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's
That
just,
we don't test that more.
Right. Right. It just makes sense. I mean, it's super clear in the Bible.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like we want to stick. Yeah, we want to stick to this. Like, oh, don't test the Lord.
Right.
Like, don't test him. You know,
Right.
like fire and brimstone. He'll bring it down. You'll lose your job. Like, who knows? Like we're pessimists.
Yeah.
We think the worst case scenario in all situations, and we totally minimize God's capabilities with our limited understanding of who He is
oh,
Yeah.
and what He's capable of.
Right.
Yeah.
And we put Him in this tiny little box and go, "Oh, you're just not good enough. You're not capable of to do all these things."
Well,
that
we
you
put
say
the
you
limits
do."
on 'em.
Right? Because we're saying you can't.
We do
Right.
have limits because we're human,
Right.
but He has none.
He has absolutely none, and we
Right.
do not understand that. And part of faith is saying, I believe in the thing I cannot see and cannot understand. And I'm not supposed to, because you're God and I'm not.
Right.
Exactly.
Right?
And thank you,
And
God,
thank
for
you.
not making me.
And thank you, by the way, and so does all my family and friends appreciate the fact that I am not God.
Definitely.
Right.
Okay, so tell me, just what is the change that needs, just blunt, what is the change that needs to happen for anybody worried, scared, not sure, doesn't want to, you didn't want to, right?
Right.
What is the change? Just blunt.
I always tell people that I feel like to do anything in life, you have to want to do it. You have to want to do something. Nobody can force you.
Right,
Nobody can force you to go to AA.
right.
Nobody can force you to, stay on that diet.
Right.
You have to want it.
Mm.
And I would say, as a believer,
Mm.
and anybody else who's a believer, and maybe hasn't followed, this this part of their faith,
Yeah.
is to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do something.
Yeah.
Anything. Just get on a normal, just a weekly budget. $5.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the statistics, in one of the services
Yeah.
of
Giving.
how many of the giving and how many
Yeah.
church members.
Do we remember what the percentage was? Anybody?
I don't remember.
Not exactly.
Okay.
But here's what I did think of, was how many members there were. What was there, like 3,600 members,
Yeah.
or people,
Mhm.
and let's just take 2,500 of those members
Mm-hmm.
that they said maybe don't give.
Right.
Right? $5. If everybody gave $5 a week, $20 a month, that's an additional $650,000 a year.
For one home. One person, one home.
Well, for all those, yeah.
Yeah.
$20
Right.
a month coming from each of those.
Right. Okay. Mhm.
Those,
Yep.
those households.
Yep.
That's a significant. That's at $5. That's not going to Dutch Bros.
Right. Right.
That's like giving the church.
And that's
a
not
cup
going to
of
Dutch Bros
coffee
once
every
a week.
No.
That's not like not going to Dutch Bros the other
You
6 days a week.
Yeah,
or whatever it is, right?
or maybe you only go, twice
Right.
a day instead of 3 times.
Right. And you said
Yeah.
650,000. Is that what you just said? 650. Okay, so that's more than $500,000.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Exactly.
at $5 a week. Giving the church a cup of coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Church, I'm gonna give you a cup of coffee every week.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to dedicate a cup of coffee every week.
I also wonder too, what kind of difference would it make to be known as a joyfully giving church? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of impact? I mean, gosh, we could do right. We've done the things. We've gone to schools and done beautifications. We've, we have all kinds of ministries. We've fed the poor. We've provided gifts for kids at we've done all these things, right? And these are great things. That's great things, and we will continue to do those great
Yep.
things. But what if we could do more?
Yeah.
What if we could be that people could actually experience Jesus in a very real way because of the provision the church has given in some way. They've never experienced it before, never experienced that kind of kindness or love or acceptance or whatever it is. And we were able to do that because we just loved to give and just wanted for people to feel accepted and loved and cared
Right.
for,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they were just like, that church down the street is just like, they're
Yeah.
just great. Like anything you need, like
Yeah.
they just love you guys. They just love you.
this weekend's message really got me pumped up, talking about the Acts church and the early church.
Yes.
And just thinking of how much influence we could have in our community if we
Yes.
were known by how much we gave.
They-
Not even how much.
They
Just
sold
how-
their
Just that we gave,
homes
period.
and their okay,
Yes.
people. Can you imagine
Yes.
selling your house and taking that money to the church? Because that's what this
Right.
early Acts. That's
Right.
what
That's
what they did.
literally they did.
Right.
And they said, we're going to bring it. We're going to bring it together,
Yeah.
and we're just going to meet the needs of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, hold on, that we're flipping things upside down right now.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah,
And-
that's
and-
what God does.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because you look back and you're like, we don't have it that hard. You don't have to sell your house.
Right.
You don't have to sell your car. You don't
Right.
have to do this.
You can give up a cup of coffee a day.
You can give up a cup
Right.
of coffee a day.
Or a week.
Exactly.
It's that
Right,
simple.
exactly. It's not
You
even
know,
like,
isn't it?
yeah, it's not even like to that level. Like,
No.
But what if we were challenged
Look
to
at the
do
impact.
that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't think when people look at giving to the church, they look at, what's it going to? What's is it? Oh, we're
Yeah.
just paying the pastors.
Right.
Oh, they're just, doing
Right.
that. Whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. I run my own business. Let's say I dedicate myself. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to cleaning everybody's carpets. People who call me, I'm going to I'm going to come clean them.
Right.
I'm not going to charge them.
Right.
I'm going to come clean them.
Right.
And Angela totally supports me on that,
Right.
right? Okay, it'll be okay for a little bit, but how do I pay
can you
for the
sustain
stuff?
that?
How do I sustain that?
Yeah. How do you sustain it?
Even if I am willing to
Right.
dedicate myself
Right.
to
Right.
not even work for money,
Which the
but I'm
church
gonna
is
serve.
willing to do. Right.
but I'm going to serve
Right.
my community.
Right. At some point.
At some point, somebody's got to pay for the gas,
Yes.
the insurance,
Yes.
the chemical, all
Right.
this stuff.
Right.
It costs
Right.
money.
Well,
to
and it
do
does.
that.
We're not going to. Yeah, and I think it's good for us to say you're right. Yes, it is paying for our buildings and our electricity the same way that you're paying your mortgage and you're paying your PG&E and you're
Exactly.
paying your water, and
Yes.
that it is responsible.
And
We are responsible to do those things, right?
Yes.
And that's where that's where the tithe comes in,
Yeah.
because this is a group of people in the church that are
Right.
dedicated to serving the community.
Right. Right.
And so
Right.
these people who are dedicated to serving the community
Yeah.
have to be sustained somehow.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And when we come here, we're getting a service.
Yes. Yes. We are. Yeah.
Whether you see it that way or not, we are getting fed
Yeah.
here.
And I think a lot of people might feel like they have free reign to say, well, like, I don't trust the church. I've had a lot of bad experiences with the church. And to that, I would say, okay, you're right in
Maybe you have.
in
Yes.
having that feeling. But I'm telling you, what Scripture says about those that are in leadership, especially in churches like there, is the Lord is going to do. Like you mentioned before, when the person that stole your van, right? There's a repercussion
Yes.
for that behavior,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
They will fall.
correct.
North Point has been growing.
Exactly. Right. That's my point.
And there's a reason.
My point is, it is not yours to say what is happening or how your money is. You're trusting the Lord to take care of it. We are also trusting the Lord to make the right decisions.
Yes.
And to put it into the right ways and to make the biggest impact. And if we are not faithful in that, we will be called out on that
Yeah.
by the Lord.
Yes,
You
we
don't have to
will.
call us out. We will be
Yes.
responsible for that.
Big
So don't
time.
you worry about that. God's not going to
Yeah.
go back to punish you,
Right.
for having
Right.
given and it didn't go to the place it needed to go. But you will have to consider your inaction if you choose not to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep in mind.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This is
that's,
great.
I
I love this conversation. I love this conversation.
tough one.
It is.
It's a
It's a
tough one to
tough one,
have.
but I think I love if we can create an environment where this is how we should be talking about it, right?
Yeah.
We should be having dialogue about things that are awkward or uncomfortable or difficult. That is a good thing, not a bad thing. We should be
Right.
willing to step into those conversations with people. And so we hope that this has been helpful for you. We hope that,
Yeah.
if you've had questions or concerns or thoughts about anything that we've said, we would love to dialogue. We'd love to hear from you more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Put in
mean-
the comments.
There's so much more to
There-
say.
there's so much more to
the
say.
story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have more giving stories of what
Yeah.
it's become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than just
Yes.
just that. It's
Yeah.
really flourished. So
Yeah.
if anyone wants to
So
talk about
as
that,
we keep going through, so FPU starts this Sunday.
this
Sunday. And it's Financial Peace University. If you don't know where to start, this is a great place, a great beginning start on how to get a budget down, how to kind of put the Lord in charge of your finances, stuff like that. I'm hearing that we might be hearing from Alfred again in the next couple weeks. I don't know if you guys heard that, but he said there's more stories. So
there is.
so there will be a booking happening
Yeah.
here pretty
Yes.
soon,
Oh,
so we can
I
hear
would
some more
love
of
to
those
go into
stories.
detail about that.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, send us questions, send us your thoughts. We just love to hear from you guys. And thank you both for just sharing and for us to just challenge each other, right? Like iron sharpens iron. We are sharpening each other in this conversation. We hope that this is sharpening you as you're listening and watching. And man, right now, I just want to encourage you, just stop and pray. Pray about whatever God has in store for you. Because he does have a plan. And he does have a blessing. And it's, man, he wants to give you guidance and he wants to give you provision and he wants to give you wisdom, but you need to give him a voice in your life and then trust him every step of the way.
Yep.
Your faith is
right.
going to grow, your giving's going to grow, and you're going to experience something that you've never experienced before. And we want to hear those stories as those begin to unpack. We're going to hear from Alfred again maybe even Angela if we can get her back. And thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
this
it.
was fun.
Yeah.
It was a joy.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
you know,
Good.
can't
I
wait
always
to
said
do it
cool
again.
and good in the same word.
Yeah.
Could.
Good.
There you go. New word. There you go. Add it to the dictionary. Not surprised.
Urban
I
Dictionary.
do that all the time.
right.
Well, guys, go make it a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Sunday. And yeah, have a good one.